Alrighty, folks. Final episode this week, episode number 160, knowledge out number 39. And this is a recommendation from the Ecom Cowboy, who I sometimes refer to myself as the Ecom Cowboy, but I guess this is the real Ecom Cowboy. I don't know. I don't know who's the real one. We'll say that he's the real one. Uh, you guys might remember him. We've had him on for an interview before. Great guy. But he threw this in the Telegram and wanted us to talk about this. It might be a little bit tough for us to talk about this. Not because it's like tough personally, but because I don't know. I don't know if there's that many of them. But this one we're talking about mistakes that we made building our current brand. So again,
I don't know why this dude thinks we make mistakes.
uh,
Like, has he not been paying attention?
doesn't he know that we are literal ecom gods? Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say exactly what our mistakes are because I'd say for the most part things have turned out pretty well. Obviously, you always want to be doing more revenue. You always want that number to be higher. That's just kind of the nature of things. I think there's a few things that we can maybe speak on, but I mean, to be honest, Scotty, I don't think we've made a whole lot of huge mistakes with this brand yet.
Again, it's like what I was semi-jokingly saying before we started recording, where it's like, ask me again in 10 years. I can tell you mistakes we made with the last sort of brand we did. We ordered too much inventory and our cost of goods went up too much, and we assumed that we could just sell them for a higher price because now they're way better quality. When improved quality doesn't help you sell them because nobody sees the improved quality on the picture. So clear fucking mistakes right there. Ordered too much, stopped ads for too long, and just assumed that we could sell them at the higher price without testing, or it was just dumb assumption. So easy mistakes I can point out there. With my other business, Sleek Inc., I think there's a bit of a flaw in that the container size is too big and the product lasts too long. I think it would be better if it was a smaller container size and the product didn't last as long to make people reorder more often. It's one of those things where you're actually making the product worse because you would have to charge. I mean, in terms of economies of scale, it costs almost as much to make a 4-ounce bottle as it does to make a 2-ounce bottle, as it does to make a 1-ounce bottle. Like, the bottle contents scale linearly, but everything else, like the bottle costs the same price, whether it's a 1-ounce bottle or a 4-ounce bottle. There might be like a 5% difference. Shipping costs a similar amount, fulfillment costs the same, etc. So in terms of, we'd be making the actual product worse, but I think we'd have a much higher returning customer rate and people would become habitual buyers if they ran out of the product within, call it 3 to 5 weeks instead of 3 to 6 months, which is what we're at currently with our bigger size. So that's kind of a flaw where we made a product that is better, but we could have made a worse product that might have made for a better business. I don't know if I'd call that a mistake. Probably, yeah, from a business perspective. But it's what it is.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think by far the biggest mistake I've made in ecom was the one that you just start off there with, Scotty, just ordering a shit ton of inventory, trying to improve the quality of the product so much that the cost of goods basically doubled, which destroyed the margins. And we just thought that we could sell them. And you're like, oh yeah, we'll just charge more for it. People will buy it. Yeah, that was not the case. That was not the case.
You thought you could do anything at the time. Like,
dude, I was invincible.
Sell ice to an Eskimo.
I could have jumped off the Empire State Building with no parachute and I'd have been fine, dude.
Back in those days. Back in the day.
Back in those days. Until reality hits, you realize that you're not invincible, that everything you touch does not always turn to gold. And you actually have to work for it sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Then there's the obvious mistake too, with just drop shipping too long previously.
Yeah. Drop shipping too long previously, not really giving a shit about customer service, just hiring one of my real life buddies to take care of customer service and not looking after him. Didn't do a great job with my my leadership on that one, but lessons learned. lessons learned. I mean, honestly, I think part of the reason that we don't have a whole lot of mistakes to talk about with our current brand is because we made the mistakes in previous ventures of ours and have learned not to make them again.
Yeah, I actually don't think that's it. I think it's you don't see the mistake yet, because if we saw the mistake, we'd have fixed the mistake. You know what I mean? Like, this is the thing, you don't notice the mistake until after the fact, I think, generally.
Yeah.
And this is the thing he said with our current brand. What mistakes have we made in the past? Like, we haven't made any big ones because they don't become big unless you don't fix them. So when we see a mistake, we fix it. The mistake that it might eventually become our downfall with this brand, we obviously haven't seen yet, because if we'd seen it, we'd have fixed it.
What are some of the smaller mistakes that come to the top of your head that we fixed?
I mean, on a super micro level, we spent too much. I'm thinking about Black Friday, Cyber Monday preparation right now. I think last year we spent too much on like Wednesday. We started spending more at like Wednesday, 6 p.m. We spent too much on Wednesday and too much on Thursday, Thanksgiving. We could have kept a lower scale those days, and focused more of our spend over the actual weekend, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That was one mistake. Then also, I think we scaled up a bit too high on, I believe it was Friday. But again, like, was that a mistake? Maybe, not really. Like, it set us up to do higher profits after, but obviously our margins that day were shitty. It is what it is. Knowing what I know now, we changed the offer in December. That was a mistake. That did not work out the way I'd hoped. Would not do that again. Then we should have had more inventory or spent less in December at low margins, so that when at the end of December and January shit started popping off like mad, that we could have sold more then. But again, this is hindsight. Is every January going to be that good? I fucking hope so. But it might also have been that year specifically. We don't know. For sure, this year we're going to be prepared to do a huge January. So I guess that was a mistake learned. Be prepared for January to be absolutely fucking epic, and don't burn through too much inventory and on shitty margins in November, December.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we'll see this year. I think, I think that that's generally how it works. I'm not really exactly sure why. I think people just, are still in the buying mood. They get money for Christmas. They're still kind of off work, a lot of people, and they're just scrolling their phones and stuff. And yeah, I mean, January was a killer month this past year. I think, I mean, it really has been just about every year that I've been doing ecom.
Yeah. I think a large part of it is that big companies are spending a shit ton November, December, and they scale down in January, or they scale down after Christmas. Because it's going to be hard to explain to your boss at Procter & Gamble why you're still running a Black Friday sale on January 15th. Whereas Joshua is lucky enough to have a great boss in myself who fully understands that if the ROAS is up, we do not give a fucking shit. If we're running Black Friday, Cyber Monday sales in June, so be it.
Screw it, man. April, October. It doesn't even matter, man. It doesn't even freaking matter. If the ROAS is high, I was trying to think of something that rhymed. I don't know. If the ROAS is high, turning ads off is nigh. How's that?
Pretty shitty, but it'll do.
Scotty, what do you think about some of the notes that I put down in this outline here?
Yeah, I mean, go explain what you put down, and I'll comment on it.
Yeah. So, it's been tough. It's tough kind of thinking about things, big mistakes that we've made with this. I don't know if I would consider this as much of a mistake as it is just kind of like a downside of the strategy that we kind of took with this store, with this brand.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. But there is somewhat of an issue where kind of the strongest part of the business is the offer. It's just a really, really solid offer on the front end. And because of that, that's, a big reason that people buy from us is just because we have a great price. It's a really great deal. It's a great price. And if you've listened to any sort of business content, you probably understand the concept that, you know, when you're competing on price, it's basically a race to the bottom because everyone's just going to lower their prices until no one's making any money. And then, you know, that's not exactly a great situation to be in. Um, I don't think that I would like to build another brand in this same way going forward because I mean, it's really, I mean, it's great to have a really solid offer, but when that offer, like the next part of this is because we have such a great offer, our margins aren't as great as they could be. Um, you know, they're not awful, but they're definitely not as high as we would like them to be. And any future business that we build, I really want to make sure that we're not just kind of like using a really solid offer as a crutch because really solid offer does, you know, not in all cases, but that does tend to mean that you have lower margins. And if that's what you're relying on to make the business work, I don't know. That's not the ideal way to do it, in my opinion. Does it work for this brand? It does. I mean, it honestly does. It's pretty freaking solid. But it limits our ability to do the other thing that I think that we've kind of, you know, quote unquote mistake, just quote unquote like just things that I think I would like to do better going forward with future brands. Maybe with this brand as well, but definitely with future brands is we haven't really done a great job of developing out a strong back end to get a lot of repeat customers. Most of our revenue comes from front end sales. Customers buy once, and then I mean we do have some repeat customers for sure. It's not like they're non-existent, but just because of the way the business is structured and the current products that we have, um, you know, it just doesn't lend to a whole lot of repeat customers. And I think that that's, you know, a really key part of the business. It's not necessarily required to build a big business, but I think that the more that you can get people who've already bought from you to buy again, you know, that's kind of the low hanging fruit. And going forward, I definitely want to do a better job of that with future brands.
Yeah. I think what you just described are characteristics of our business. I don't think they're mistakes. And the reason I think that is because, well, for one, because it's working. It's like you can't say making a great offer is a mistake because it's the reason why it's working so well, in my opinion. We've had this conversation, Schmidt, a few times when we were thinking about new brands to start. We think about it from an idealistic standpoint of like, okay, we do not like before you even have an idea, you start thinking about characteristics that you want your business to have. And there's a lot of ideal characteristics that I think make for an ideal e-com business. Examples include high gross margins, great offer, very light, product that's light because it's going to be cheap to ship and cheap to buy in bulk and everything. A product with few SKUs, product with no sort of sizing issues, so you're going to have lower returns. What more? Strong emotional appeal, big market, rich market, etc. So there's all these characteristics that are like ideal, recurring, potential for more similar products, easy potential to build like a brand where you sell multiple things to people. Like all these things are characteristics of an ideal business. But I think what we've realized is that no business is going to have all of those. So it's just, yeah, no business is going to have all of them. So you only need one or two of them to make your business work. Our business works because of great offers, great product design, great content. That's what makes our business work. For someone else, it might be the fact that it's a very beautiful product. It's very lightweight to ship. It like a jewelry product, it looks very high value. It looks nice. It feels good, but it's actually very cheap to produce and ship, etc. So they have great gross margins. For other people, it might be called a skincare product where you have great gross margins again, and you also have recurring. So you got two great things there. You got recurring, you got great gross margins. But on a skincare product like that, you're not going to have the great offer because it doesn't matter how much you lower your price. There's no set point for what a skincare product like that should cost. So you can charge $40 or you can charge $9. $9, it's just going to seem like a cheap product. It's not going to be like, wow, this is a great fucking deal. Whereas if you're selling something like blue light glasses, people have an idea in their mind of what glasses or blue light glasses should cost. So there, if you can come in with a low price or a great offer, people will gobble that up because they have a set idea in their mind of what this should cost. Skincare product, not so much. So it's product and it's business specific, and there are these ideal characteristics of what great businesses have in common, what makes great businesses work in e-com. But there's no business that is going to fulfill all these qualities, in my opinion. So you just kind of pick and choose. Whichever business you're going to start, it's going to have some things going for them and not others. You're going to have a great offer and it's going to be super high margin, maybe even, but then it's not going to be a recurring product. So be it. You're not going to fulfill all the qualities. And I think this is where you have to get away from. Shmini, we've had this conversation multiple times now in the past year where we were thinking like, okay, our next business, we want to have X, Y, and Z qualities. And I'll bring up 3 qualities and you'll bring up 3 qualities. We have to sort of take a step back and be like, no, our next business, we want it to be fucking profitable and we want it to fucking scale. And whichever qualities it has that make it work, it's going to have. Whichever qualities it doesn't have, it's not going to have. And you're not going to find the perfect business that meets all of these. And just because a business doesn't get a lot of repeat customers or doesn't have a great offer or whatever, doesn't make it a bad business and doesn't make it a mistake, if that makes sense, sort of to tie it back to the original question.
Yep. Yeah, I think that just gave me an idea. I think next week we should make an episode about what are all of those ideal qualities that you can kind of pick from. I think that'd be a cool episode.
I mean, shit, just cut my rant and make it an episode.
Yeah, I'd agree, man. I'd agree. Like there's trade-offs with everything. And you kind of just got to pick and choose. I think you need like 1 or 2 really strong aspects to your business. And a lot of times those aspects are kind of on like a sliding scale where if it's really solid on one end, then it's not super solid on the other. And that's just kind of the way it goes.
Yep.
I do wonder if there's like, I think that there is the possibility to have a business that literally has all of these ideal qualities, but it's like, that would be so difficult to find.
I honestly don't think there is. I think some of them are, I mean, it's like high gross margins and a great offer is, they're kind of counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm. High gross margins, great offer, recurring. That would be pretty ideal.
Yeah. I think with recurring products, you're generally looking at stuff that doesn't have a set point, you know. It's like the skincare product's a perfect example. Like on Sleek Inc, the offer doesn't have as much of an effect as it does on other offers we've ran, other products, because there is no set price that people have in their mind that this should cost. And you can lower the price as much as you want. It's not going to be like, wow, I need this. I'm never going to get this as cheap again because there's no comparison. It's one of one. Like there is no other Sleek Inc. You know what I mean? It's like perfume.
I do. Well, it's also product specific where people, the product that you're selling, people don't have a reference for how much that should cost anyway.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's like perfume. You can lower the price of perfume. It's not going to dramatically increase sales, I don't think, because nobody, like, if you want this cologne, like, I don't know, it's not as impactful as if you get a pair of Nikes and they lower the price to $30. If you lower the price of your fucking AirPods or Nike shoes or whatever to $30, people are going to be gobbling that up because they have a set point that this should cost twice as much. Yeah, they have a set price in their head, and if you make it a lot lower, they're gonna fucking gobble that shit up.
You know what they call that, Scott, man?
Price elasticity.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. The price elasticity of demand. Who would have thunk, man? College actually did teach me something.
Yeah, some of us learned this shit in high school, but
yeah, well, we can't all be as fortunate enough to go to very high-end Swiss school, Scotty.
Yeah, Fucking shout out Swiss school system.
Well, that turned into a little bit of something a little off topic from the mistakes that we've made building our current brand, but that's the rundown. I'm sure we'll be able to share a little bit more about mistakes that we made longer term down the line when we're kind of looking back on things in hindsight. Hopefully we're not making too many big mistakes. Hopefully nothing too big. That's kind of the goal, you know. We're out here trying to win, not trying to make too many mistakes, but definitely some interesting stuff in there. Maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't. Maybe you just I don't know, maybe you just enjoyed listening to me and Scotty's sensual voices. But either way, I think that'll probably do it. Scotty, you got anything else to add, man? Anything else for the people this glorious week?
Don't think I do. I think we wrap it up there.
Beautiful. Well, folks, that has been Knowledge Route number 39. We hope you guys enjoyed. We'll talk to you guys next week.